Welcome into the CLNS Red Sox Roundtable, hosted by myself, Nick Qualia, alongside two members of the CLNS Red Sox B team, Adam Ballou, and our big boss, Jess Thomas. How's it going, guys?
Big boss. I like it.
Big boss.
Well,
Big boss JT.
Big boss JT. Yeah, I'm doing well. This is my third roundtable, so I'm not as regular as you guys, but I'm here for the third time in history of roundtable, and I'm pumped.
I'm liking these roundtables. I mean, I might be a little biased, but I got to say, I think these roundtables may be top notch.
I agree.
Agreed.
All right, we're going to get into the second half preview for the Red Sox. Obviously, if you caught the first episode on Wednesday or Thursday, or even earlier today on Friday, me, Adam, and Alex Barth, newest member of the Red Sox beat team, we discussed the Red Sox first half, and you guys should definitely go take a listen if you have not heard it yet. But tonight, once again, we're going to talk about the second half. We're going to preview it, and the first question we are going to talk about is, or the first topic, expectations. Jess, what do you think the Red Sox are going to do in the second half of the season? Currently, they obviously sit 3.5 games above the Yankees, first place atop the AL East. Do you think that's going to stay in the second half? What do you think this team's going to do?
Absolutely. Honestly, the first half could have been better just because of the team that they have at this point, and with all the injuries, that kind of knocked it down a little bit, and they were still that good, and they were still 50-39. So I think that this team is really good. I expect even better. I think they're going to get close to 100 wins. I am really pumped for the second half. I think the hitting's going to get better. I think you're not going to have so many 0 and 1 run games, which has obviously been one of the issues of the first half. So I see that getting better. I see no reason why the bullpen won't continue to be good because, unlike some people, I think Farrell's done a really good job balancing who to pitch in what situations. So I think that the bullpen will continue to be good, and if Carson Smith ever comes back, that will just make it even better. And then the starting pitching, I mean, you got so many good pitchers, and some of them pitch better than others, but, I mean, if Pomerantz can keep up even like half of what he's done, that will still be hugely valuable because he's had a great first half. If Price continues to get better as he has, if Sale continues to be Sale, if Erod comes back and he's himself, if Porcello pitches anywhere near what he was last year, which I expect him to because he's not going to be this bad the whole season, I think this team is really good. I think they're going to run away with the division, and I think they're going to get close to 100 wins.
Actually, you know what, Adam, before we get to you, Jess, that just gave me another question. Who do you think's the biggest it factor for the second half of the season? Who do you think's the pivotal point? Does that question make sense to you?
So, like, if they're going to be good,
who is the
the
most important piece to the second half of the season?
I hate to say this, but Hanley Ramirez, no doubt, because he had a horrendous first half, and well, not horrendous, but 261 and 34 RBI. That is pathetic for where he hits in the lineup. He should already have like 50 RBI. So I think for this team to be even better, he needs to get a lot more home runs. But really, not even just that, just driving runs, because he's just so useless in clutch situations. And I still think
useless. He does. Scream that. Useless.
Useless. Yes. So I think that you have a better chance of being better. If he's better, I think they'll still be good either way. But if he's better, that'll just make this team even that much better than they already would be. So definitely Hanley.
Adam, I'm going to give you the same two questions. What are your expectations for this team in the second half, and who is the most important piece to this team's success for the second half?
My expectations are that they win the AL East. I predicted, I believe in my prediction piece earlier when we did the group predictions before the season started, that they were actually going to go to the World Series and win the World Series, but I'm not willing to say that. But I think they're going to win the AL East. I don't see a team in the AL East that should really compete with them. I mean, I think the Yankees have overachieved with that young lineup, and their rotation is just awful. Tanaka's been terrible. So I'm not as positive on what the outcome of the season's going to be as Jess was. I don't think they're getting 100 wins. I just don't think they're consistent enough. Like we talked on the first one, I think their offense is just so inconsistent, and I just don't see it. We've seen, this is what are we at, 90 games? So we've had over a half of a season to show that this offense is not nearly as good as it was last year and what we expected it to be. I think the pitching's been great. I just hope that everyone stays healthy. because we've seen in the past that they really don't have any depth at starting pitcher. I mean, if they have to use Hector Velasquez and Brian Johnson, and they won't use Henry Owens because he's horrendous. He's horrendous in Double-A. So I just hope that I like Doug Fister. I do, but I mean, he's a fifth starter at best. I just hope that everyone stays healthy. I hope that Erod's knees are fine. I hope that David Price's arm is fine. I hope that we don't have any more fluke injuries. I hope that, you know, everyone in the bullpen stays healthy, because they've been great. But they don't have a lot of depth either. I mean, you're using guys like Robbie Scott, and you know, he hasn't had this type of innings load that he's had this season. So I don't know if he's going to break down or not. I just think that, you know, I think this team on paper should win the AL East. I think it should contend for the World Series. So just fingers crossed. But as far as the it factor, I'm going to have to go with John Farrell. Everyone knows I don't like John Farrell. I don't think he should still be the manager. I'm saying right now, I know they're in first place. I'd still be fine with them getting rid of him. So I know that's not going to happen. So, you know, I think the biggest it factor is the amount of screw-ups that John Farrell has. I don't like the way he's using the bullpen. I don't like the way I hate how long he leaves the starting pitchers in. You can take a guy out after 6 innings, John. You don't have to leave him in for the first batter or the 7th.
Let it out. Let it out.
My God, it's awful. It's every game. It's not even. He did it with Price, and I was like, "What are you doing?" And then he did it with Porcello. He does it with everybody. Just take the guy out of the game. My God, his bullpen use is stupid. He used Hembry and Scott every single game for like a month and a half straight. You have other guys. There's not just 2 guys that you use. Just stop. If he just stops screwing up so damn much, they could probably win the World Series. All right, I'm good.
Okay, so now on to my portion of her expectations and my most important player. Adam, I'm going to disagree with you, though, real quick on John Farrell. And you know, me and you were together big time on this last year with John Farrell, and I was even on it earlier in the season. On Wednesday's show for the Roundtable, if we were able to get to our third topic, which would have been biggest surprise, I was going to shock the world, and I was going to say John Farrell, because I actually think John Farrell's been doing a pretty fine job this season. And
it's terrible.
I think he's done
Jess broke
quite
you.
all right. I think he's done quite all right. I mean, the bullpen's the bullpen. For a bullpen that we didn't think was going to be that good, the bullpen
I thought it was going to be good.
You thought Heath Hembry and Robbie Scott were going to be a good.
You did not think
the bullpen was going to be good. I had Joe Kelly as my player to watch. I thought he was going to be nasty.
That's one guy, not the whole bullpen.
Yeah, Joe Kelly's been
fine.
pretty
All you
good.
need is Joe Kelly and Kimbrel.
No, you don't. No, you were just giving John Farrell so much crap for using 2 players for like a month and a half straight.
Yeah, you use them every single day. You have a bullpen. You can use other guys. Heath Hembry's arm is about to fall off, for Christ's sake. You could tell. I mean, he sucked the last month because you freaking use the guy every single day. Robbie Scott, I mean, he's been good. I like Blaine Boyer. He's been decent.
Okay,
you just said that he leaves guys in too long, and then you're saying you only need Kelly and Kimbrel. They have to go 7 innings to do that.
Right, that's fine. If their pitch count is fine, but you don't have to. It's 110 pitches, and he's like, "Oh yeah, just put them back in there." What the hell? He didn't do that with he didn't do that with Pomerantz at the beginning of the year. Well, it's probably because he sucked for a little bit, but I mean, he trusts Rick Porcello more than anybody else.
Adam, you're the best. All right, my expectations for the Red Sox second half of the season. I think they'll win the AL East. Playoff-wise, because we're going to obviously preview the whole second half of the season. Playoff-wise, I see them going to at least the ALCS against the Houston Astros, because the Houston Astros are just so good. But if we're going to have to compare them to another team in the in the American League, it's going to have to be against the Houston Astros, and that's a team. I know they just took 2 out of 3 from them not too long ago, but that's a team that, unless their bats are really cruising, they're not going to beat. The Astros are just so out of this world good this season, and the Red Sox,
all their pitchers are hurt. A lot of their pitchers are hurt right now.
But is it for the whole? Is it for the whole season?
No, what I'm saying, like when they beat Houston 2 out of 3, they didn't have. Dallas Keuchel's been out. They didn't face him. McCullers, I think, was out for that series. He's been ridiculous.
Exactly. But overall, for the second half, the Red Sox pitching is going to have to keep up with what they've been doing because they've won a lot of low-scoring games. I mean, offensively, this team's got the second lowest, or actually they might have the worst, the least amount of home runs in the American League right now. I think they're ranked 15th. Every other offensive category, they've been very good, very sneaky, very good. They kind of remind me of the Kansas City Royals a couple of years ago when they weren't a home run hitting team, but they were really good at small ball. I mean, a couple weeks ago, Zue Lin and Devin Marrero both dropped down bunts, got on first and second, and Mookie Betts hit a 2-run home run. Now, if they're going to it looks like they're going to have to keep playing like that for the second half of the season. It looks like they're not going to be – their power numbers aren't going to get up unless Hanley Ramirez turns it on. And the key to their success is going to be the starting pitching holding to where it's been. If Drew Pomeranz hasn't been the Drew Pomeranz that we've seen for his past couple of starts, this team isn't where they're at right now. Now, again, he's going to have to hold that because Rick Porcello hasn't been that great. The fifth starter – since Erod's been out for a good chunk of the season, has been a revolving door, so it's been very inconsistent. The starting pitching of David Price, Chris Sale, and Drew Pomeranz is going to have to keep on track to really what it's been, because if not, then this team doesn't stand a chance in the playoffs. Again, the talent in the AL East isn't good enough where the Red Sox aren't going to win the AL East, but the Red Sox are good enough to get into the playoffs and eventually get to the ALCS by playing small ball. Now, my key player to watch is going to have to be Rick Porcello, because Rick Porcello, if he can pitch remotely what he did, I'm not saying last year because last year was out of this world, but kind of close to what he did, if he's a good pitcher, if he's halfway to what he was last year, then the Red Sox starting rotation is just going to get that much stronger. And I mean, we saw 2013, 2007, 2004. The key to a World Series is a strong, deep starting rotation. Now, second half, 30 seconds. Who will be the MVP of the second half of the season? Jess, who do you think?
Call me crazy. Rick Porcello.
Oh,
shit, that was so predictable.
Honestly, I think just because obviously, his ERA is not fantastic, but he also has gotten no run support, which obviously he did last year. So I think he'll get more run support. And he's gone 6 or more innings every start except one this year. That's good. That's exactly what he did last year. So if he gets run support, gives up a couple less runs, and then keeps going 6 or 7 innings, I have no doubt he'll be the MVP of the second half.
That is my favorite stat about Porcello, because he's going deep into games and saving the bullpen. Adam, what do you think?
I really want to say JBJ because it's my boy, but I'm going to go Mookie Betts. I think he just got off to such a rough start this year, and I just can't see that continuing. You see flashes of it where he'll have these ridiculous games where he'll just hit 2 homers and a bunch of RBIs, and I think hopefully they leave him in that leadoff spot. I think that's where he needs to be. And guys get on base for him, but I think. I mean, he's just the total package. I mean, you saw him throw out Arenado in the All-Star game
with ease.
He's got a cannon. I know he was so far back, and Arenado's not the fastest guy in the world, but I mean, I just think he's the best hitter on this team, and he needs to be the MVP for us to go to where we need to go, and that's deep in the playoffs. So.
All right, my pick is going to be Hanley Ramirez, and
there you go.
And I don't want it to be Hanley Ramirez. I do not want to pick Hanley Ramirez because I don't want to have to depend on this guy. But the Red Sox offensive numbers are good, but the power numbers aren't great. And obviously he's a designated hitter. He's taking over for Big Papi this season, so he's going to have to step it up. And we know for a career-wise, Hanley has been excellent in the second half. So for me, the MVP of the second half is going to have to be Hanley Ramirez. All right, guys. Well, thank you very much for coming on. Thank you for listening, everybody. Make sure you guys share this and spread the word about CLNS, the Red Sox Roundtable. Once again, this has been Nick Qualia, Adam Ballou, and Jess Thomas. Have a good night, everybody. Thanks for listening.